Ready. Great. Well, thanks everyone for coming. My name is Ken Pruitt. I'm the Sustainability Director for the town of Winchester. It's a town position created about a year ago that I'm delighted to be in, and I'm here to tell you today about one of our programs called WinPower. Also with me is Fritzi Nace, who's an outreach coordinator, our energy outreach coordinator, and I'll tell you more about what she can help you do in a moment. But thanks for being here. So some of you have heard about WinPower. People watching at home may or may not be familiar with the program. WinPower is let me go back one quick slide. It's Winchester's community electricity program. So we actually have our own electricity supply program for all residents and small businesses in Winchester, called WinPower. It's kind of a collective purchasing program where we get affordable rates and we lock them in for 2 to 3 years at a time. And on top of that, we add in some extra renewable energy onto the standard product that everyone starts off as. And I'll tell you a little bit more about all of that. So under WinPower, we have stable rates that are either for 2 years at a time or 3 years at a time. The current contract that we signed with a company called Direct Energy is for the next 2 years. It's December 2022 that we're in right now through December 2024. This program, our supply choice, is less expensive right now than what you'd have if you were just on Eversource's automatic supply, which is called Eversource Basic. And as you'll see in a subsequent slide, our standard product under WinPower is about to be much less expensive than Eversource Basic, because Eversource Basic is about to go way up in price on January 1st. 90% of Winchester residents are participating in WinPower. You ask, how could that possibly be? That's almost everyone. It's because when town meeting established this program in 2017, they made it an opt-out program instead of an opt-in program, meaning everyone in town was automatically moved into the WinPower program. And to get out, you have to affirmatively opt out, which is not a good idea, as I'll explain in a minute, even on strictly a price perspective. You can opt in or opt out at any time, however. There's no penalties. If you have opted out in the past, you can come back in. And this program, as I mentioned, supports extra local renewable energy, which is created in Massachusetts as well as within New England. Under the standard product in WinPower, there's 20% more renewable energy supplying homes in Winchester than is required by state law, which is, so we're at about 44% renewable electricity on our standard WinPower product, and the state is only at 24%. In addition to that, we have a 100% renewable electricity option called WinPower 100 that I'll tell you about in a moment. How can you tell if you're on WinPower? I just said that everyone starts off on WinPower automatically, but sometimes people opt out because they're not really sure what the program is. If you look at your Eversource bill and you see Dynegy listed under your electricity supplier as highlighted on this slide, then you are in WinPower. Our current supplier, the current contract that we have through WinPower, is with a company called Dynegy. Starting with the December Eversource bill, if you're in WinPower, it would say Direct Energy. That's the new, every 2 to 3 years we go out and find the best, most affordable electricity contract we can find. For the last 3 years, it's been with Dynegy. For the next 2 years, the best deal that we found was with Direct Energy, and we signed a 2-year contract. As you can see there, the new supplier is Direct Energy. That's their phone number. This is going into the weeds a tiny bit. They've partnered with a local nonprofit in Massachusetts called Green Energy Consumers Alliance to make sure that our electricity has that extra green power as part of it, that extra 20%. Under the new contract, as I mentioned, it's 2 years of a fixed rate, and with new rates, which are as you see here. So I mentioned that there's a standard product that everyone automatically is enrolled into. That's the column on the far left, WinPower Standard. If you don't do anything, you're automatically in WinPower Standard. However, you can either opt up to 100% clean electricity, which is called WinPower 100. That's one column over to the right. But you can also, if price is the most important thing to you, you can opt down to WinPower Basic. It says Winchester Basic, but it's really WinPower Basic. And that is just a little bit less than 15 cents per kilowatt hour compared to the a little bit more than 15.5 cents per kilowatt hour that you pay for WinPower Standard. To give you contrast, if we didn't have the WinPower program in town, everyone would be on Eversource Basic. Let me see, does this work? Yes, it does. If you were right now, you'd be paying almost 18 cents per kilowatt hour for your electricity supply if there were no WinPower program. So right now, even our 100% renewable energy option for your electricity is less expensive than what the Eversource Basic program for people who aren't on WinPower. In addition to that, not only is WinPower, even WinPower 100, a better deal right now than Eversource Basic, it's about to become an even better deal starting January 1st. As you can see, Eversource's basic program commodity is going to go up from about 18 cents to almost 26 cents per kilowatt hour starting January 1st. Whereas for WinPower, our rates are stable for the next 2 years. So it's a great time to be in WinPower compared to Eversource Basic. Eversource Basic is going up 30% over its current amount. Once it does, it will be almost 40% more expensive than the WinPower Standard program, 35% more than even our WinPower 100 program. Part of the reason this happens is that Eversource, by law, is required to seek out a new supplier for their customers every 6 months, whereas we can sign 2 to 3 year longer term contracts, which gives us better rates for everyone in town. This just shows you how prices have changed over time in the winter of 2021. So last winter, you can see what the prices were for Eversource Basic, for our standard product, and for WinPower 100. Then in the winter winter of 21, so that would be 2 winters ago. Winter of 22 is last winter, and this winter is starting January 1st. Winter, based on the way Eversource structures their calendar, the quote-unquote winter rates are January through June. So as you can see there, the prices of everything have increased over time, but the price of both of the WinPower products compared to Eversource Basic have increased only a little bit, whereas Eversource Basic is increasing tremendously. And this is just sort of a busy chart showing these changes over time in a graphical form. The blue line you see here squiggling around, that's the cost of Eversource Basic. The orange line is WinPower Standard, and the green line is WinPower 100. The reason the orange and green lines are just flat across the board is that we've had the same supplier for the last 3 years, the same contract. Whereas, as I mentioned, Eversource Basic fluctuates every 6 months. And this shows it back all the way through January of 2020. And what this doesn't show is that it's about to go up off the chart on January 1st. This does not include the January 1st cost increase of Eversource Basic. So Again, almost everyone in town is in WinPower, but if you look on your bill and it doesn't say Dynegy under supplier and you want to get in, you can opt into WinPower at any time at winpowerma.com. There's an easy enroll/change form that it won't take you more than 2 minutes. If you're very likely in at the standard level. If you want to opt up to WinPower 100 and be getting 100% clean energy, you can do that there as well. You can also opt down to WinPower Basic if you want to get the least expensive option, which has no extra renewable electricity. And again, you can opt in or opt out anytime with no penalties. For those of you here in the room, Fritzy has her laptop open right there. You can literally walk over to her when we're done talking, and within a couple of minutes, she can opt you into any level that you want to be. If you're not sure what you're opted into, you can fill out the form anyway. If you're already at that level, it won't change anything. It'll just be confirmed that you're staying at that level. If you're watching this from home, you want to go to winpowerma.com, and it has all the information on the program there and an easy form to fill out. And I have actually, between the two of us, we have handouts that you can take home, which has the website on it. I think that's the last slide. It is. Oh, okay. While Fritzy works on trying to pull up the website, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the program. Yes, sir.
In the comparisons that you showed, different charts and graphics, you used WinPower 100, WinPower Standard, but you omitted WinPower Basic.
This thing is not. We do want to promote green. On that particular slide, that might have just been an omission. We try to be upfront about the fact that there's 3 options. But the fact that the town meeting set this up so that you're automatically in at the quote unquote standard level is just sort of a reflection of the fact that we hope that WinPower will both save money for residents, but also increase the use of renewable energy in town to help the town meet its climate change goals.
I can also go from the browser if that doesn't work there.
Yes.
Here, can you use
Eversource itself does not have a renewable energy option. They did for a while, I remember, because I was a subscriber, but they've discontinued it. There are other companies out there. There are other companies out there who have renewable energy supply options that you can sign up for. The quality differs from supplier to supplier, but part of what we've seen is that there's a lot of fraud and scams going on. So first of all, I haven't seen any other 100% renewable electricity supply program that's less expensive than what we offer through the town. But in addition to that, there was a study done by the Attorney General's office in Massachusetts recently that showed that there's just a tremendous amount of fraud and abuse happening with these third-party suppliers. A lot of people are receiving, and I know I receive at least 2 letters per month from these companies claiming, like Clear Choice Energy, for example. The town's program, WinPower 100, is a better deal than any of those other programs. But you're of course welcome legally to sign up for whichever supplier you want. I just will tell you you're not going to get a better price, and you could end up being scammed.
Right. Thank you.
Yep.
Can I ask people to use the
Yeah,
microphone?
I'm sorry, just so the audience can hear back home, would you mind using the microphone?
Oh, yeah. Hi. So if you have a power outage, Eversource is still responsible for restoring it?
Yes. Thank you for asking that question. It's a point that I should have made during the presentation. Even if no matter which supplier you're with, quote unquote electricity supplier, Eversource still distributes the electricity to you, and you will still receive an Eversource bill. If you're on WinPower, whether you're on Basic, Standard, or WinPower 100, you're still only going to receive 1 bill from Eversource. And in fact, that's why I showed the example of the bill and to look for the company named Dynegy, because that's the only way you'll know if you're in the WinPower program, is if it says Dynegy, or starting next month if it says Direct Energy as your supplier. But yes, you don't. EverSource continues to send you the bills. If your power goes out, they still fix it. Yep.
Hi, I just wanted to know, is this something that's temporary for now because of what's going on with Ukraine, or is this the new normal?
When you say this, I mean, so we have a contract that's in place for the next 2 years. We were lucky enough to negotiate and sign that contract back in May, before the energy market had gone totally crazy. And so, my hope is that, electricity prices overall come down enough that by the time we sign a new contract in 2 years, the rates won't have to increase very much. But it's volatile, and it's, again, what happens in Ukraine is literally impacting electricity prices in Massachusetts. There's supply chain issues. One of the big problems is that there aren't enough transformers, which is just a component of electricity transmission and distribution. There just aren't enough of them in the U.S. right now. It's just random supply chain issues plus global conflict are affecting these things, the price of electricity. And I'm hoping that some of that will have calmed down by the time we sign the new contract in 2 years.
Thank you.
Yep. No question is a bad question. Don't hold back. We're here for you. Anything you ever wanted to know about wind power or electricity, but we're afraid to ask. Fritzi, we have a question right here.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know if someone's going to look at the bill, at my bill, and I am on WinPower, but I don't understand the differences between the others.
Yep.
The standard, the basic, and the other one there.
Would you like
Right.
to put that slide back up again?
Yeah, if it's possible to,
Down the road, someone's going to look
So
at the bill.
I can go back to this slide.
we can look at your bill today while you're here. And then in addition to that, let me just say, because I know some people are at home, if you go to the town's website,
To go up.
winchester.ma, and then go to town departments, and then the sustainability department website, my contact information is right there. And anyone's welcome to reach out to me. A lot of people do about the WinPower program, and I can, individually help you understand your bill and figure out what's going on.
If we go to the website, that would be great.
Energy. I have that already.
Okay,
So that's automatically renewed.
yep,
And
that's right.
what was my other question?
That's all right. Yeah, so if your bill says Dynegy right now, you don't need to do anything. You're automatically rolled into the new contract, and you're always in WinPower.
All right, so that's all I need to know.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have any other questions, happy to answer those too.
WinPower is able to negotiate a favorable contract because of the volume it represents, correct?
The volume and the duration.
And there are other municipalities that are doing something similar within the
Yes.
Commonwealth.
That's right, many.
Has there been any thought to combining the resources of these other WinPower-like buying blocks and even getting a better deal?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I've never heard any discussion along those lines. But yeah, in terms of the buying power collectively of many communities instead of one, that would be very interesting. Different communities handle the renewable electricity piece differently. Some what are called community aggregation programs in different communities just go for the lowest price. They don't add any extra renewable to their standard product, and there is no 100% renewable option. Other communities have, a couple of communities actually somehow have 100% renewable electricity as their default option. That's sort of the only one you can be in. And then there's everybody else, sort of all over the map. We're sort of, we give you three options. Some communities just have one or two. but everyone has to procure the underlying supply of electricity from somewhere. I'm going to bring that up. There's a company that runs this program for us, essentially, called Good Energy. I'm going to raise that question with them, because even just that company has, something like 10 or 12 communities that they work with, and they should, I think, at least be having the same supplier for those, at least for those same 10 to 12 communities.
Since you have only one caretaker of infrastructure, Eversource, they are the delivery, they are the maintenance, they are the expansion, they're the overhead cost above and beyond supply.
Yes.
It makes it less complicated to congregate as a group of communities and have even more contract negotiating power.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, it's a very good idea. It's possible that state law precludes that for some reason, or there could be some other issue.
Because it's Massachusetts.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to bring that up with Good Energy, because it's a really interesting idea. Yeah, thank you.
I just wonder if the process is already set up as a community by community approval. We would need to use some.
Right. The Department of Public Utilities, as Fritzie was just saying, that approves these local aggregation programs one at a time, one community at a time. But I don't know of any reason why we couldn't collectively sign the same contract, or bring in a supplier and say, you're going to have access to all these communities, so give us a price for all of them together. Yeah. So looks like we have another question here.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just curious as to how do you know which
Oh,
one
there
of
you
the standard, the 100, or the basic that you have?
Yeah. So to our frustration, we can't control. I wish I could tailor what's printed on the Eversource bill. Instead of it saying Dynegy, let's see, can we go back to can we click to the slide with the bill example? I think
Let
it's,
me see if I can get us back to the PowerPoint.
oh, you're just, never mind, that's fine, Just leave it on there. So your bill, the only way is you look at your bill and it says Dynegy, and then eventually it'll say Direct Energy. It doesn't tell you if you're on WinPower 100, Standard, or Basic, which is frustrating. But they won't allow us to write. We can't, edit what appears on the bill. I wish we could, because actually I get a lot of questions at my office that would have been answered if it just said that on the bill.
So that they determine which one you're on?
Everyone starts off on the Standard product, the thing she had up there a second ago. You start at Standard, and the only way you'd end up on WinPower 100 or WinPower Basic is if you affirmatively chose to switch. What's that?
Standard basic or
So there's WinPower Standard, which is the default that everyone ends up at. Basic is if you drop down to a less expensive option that has less renewable electricity. Oh, there, thank you. And then WinPower 100 is what you can opt up to have 100% renewable electricity. And yeah, so you can see it does say, it at least does say Town of Winchester at the bottom, which is helpful. But what I wish I could say is, your electric supplier, WinPower, Standard, or whatever it would be. That would be.
It does tell you what the rate is, so if you go.
Yes, good point.
If you go to your bill, and it will say how much per kilowatt hour on your bill. I don't know if you can find it on your bill, but it will say, it tells you how many therms that month you use times one of the numbers, that is the per kilowatt hour rate.
You could, if you had the WinPower website up and you had your bill side by side and you looked to see what you were paying for supply, you could then match that to what product you're on. It's just confusing.
So how do you actively change?
Ah, good question.
Yep, right on the website. If Fritzie can switch over to the website.
Getting my cursor Eversource.
We need to physically do that.
Yes.
I can help you with that right here today before you leave if you would like.
Right, Fritzy has, and if you're, when in doubt, you could enroll at the level you want. Even if you're already at that level, it won't cause any problems. They'll just look at your request and say, well, we don't need to do anything, you're already on that level. So,
Tricky.
when in
How
doubt,
do you know what's best for you as a resident?
there's two, basically you'd make a judgment on, it's kind of a values judgment. There's three products with increasing prices and increasing amounts of renewable electricity. So if saving the most money possible is the key goal for you, then you'd enroll it, or you'd opt down to WinPower Basic, which has no extra renewable electricity, but is the least expensive product by, what is it, by 14.93, by a little over a penny per kilowatt hour. You'd save a little over a penny per kilowatt hour. Average Winchester home uses 850 kilowatt hours per month, so about 10,300, 10,400
That would be a
kilowatt hours
family
per
of
year.
4. If you're one person, it might be
Right,
much lower.
for one person would be, right. The quote-unquote average Winchester home, which if you're one person living alone, that you're going to have a lot less than that. Then on the other end of the spectrum, if what's most important to you is to have, to be, impacting the climate as to the least amount possible, and use renewable energy, you'd pick WinPower 100. Which has 100% renewable electricity, but you pay, 16.6 cents per kilowatt hour, which is, it's heading up towards 2 cents per kilowatt hour more than WinPower Basic. So it's really, there's no one right answer. It's each family can make a decision.
Also on the website is a calculator where
Right.
you can go and put in the number of therms that you used.
Kilowatt hours.
Kilowatt hours. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's gas.
Yeah.
Sorry. Kilowatt hours you used, which is on your bill, and then it will tell you how much you would pay for in each of those options.
So it seems like it might be determined by how much electricity you use in your household.
It's sort of a budget and priority question. What fits your
Right.
budget and your priorities around green energy?
These are all great questions.
So this is where the enroll or change option form is. And you just fill out this information, and I'm happy to do that with anyone who's here right now that has a bill. And at the very end, you confirm, yes, this is what I want to do. And then don't forget to hit the submit button, because nothing will happen if you don't hit the submit button. And then over here under electricity products, it tells you what the different things are, and it tells you a little bit more about them, just like in the chart, but without the chart. And then at the bottom here, whoops, is, all right, let me come over here, the calculator. And that's where we can say, maybe you use less than the average household, you use 330 kilowatt hours. Your bill would be $51.71 if you were on the standard, $54.82 if you're on all green 100%, or $49.27 for basic. That is the supply charge. That's not the total charge, because you have to pay.
Usually 50/50.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And if you were on Eversource Basic, you would have been paying more than any of those, and that's before the next raise of rates.
Yeah, talking about that, do you have any idea how much it will increase?
Yeah, it's going to increase up to almost 26 cents per kilowatt hour. It's going up by about 35% in January.
Yeah.
But not
So
for
we
you. If
figured-
you're on WinPower, that's not going to happen to you, because your WinPower's rates are fixed for the next 2 years.
And we figured that if you were this person at 330 kilowatt hours, it would be about $27 more than that
Yep.
for your bill.
So Eversource will be the one increasing.
Yes. They're technically the supplier that they've chosen, but it'll get billed through to everyone on Eversource Basic, which fortunately is not anyone in this room. I don't think we need to do that because we're down to like only a handful of people who, yeah. Yep. Any other questions? We'll be here, can talk to you individually, and again, Fritzy can help you change your wind power level if you want after we're done. Well, thanks again, everyone, for coming. It's great to see you, and contact us anytime with follow-up questions in the future.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.